I'm going to start with something, reciting something that I used in an article that I wrote for Earthly
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Yam Raksanti Aswapina Vishwadanim Deva Bhumim Prithvim Apramadam. I meditate on the earth who is sleeplessly protected by the Devas with vigilance. She is Vishwadanim, all giver, and all life forms depend on her.
Yeah, amazing.
This was from the Atharva Veda, Bhumi Sukta, verse 7.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't it amazing that as an ancient civilization, India has always known her relationship with nature.
Yes.
But somewhere along the way, we've forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think as a country, as a nation, as a culture, we had a certain ideology that we believed in. Right? The lifestyle that each one of us adopts has a lot to do with our value system, our beliefs, our attitude. You know. So, for example, if somebody has the attitude of being very sensitive to others internally, then that attitude also reflects in the lifestyle. Whether it is trash lying on the road, you'll be sensitive to put it back in the bin, or you would be doing that in your relationships, or you would be doing that to the things that are lying around in your house, or on a much larger or a macrocosmic scale. You would do that to nature, you would do that to planet Earth, you would do that to the trees, the forests, the water bodies. So you could have an ideology or a belief system which is based on sensitivity, or then we could go ahead and we could develop the ideology or the value system of being callous. And when our attitude is callousness, then you would see that if there's a piece of trash lying on the road, we would neglect it or we would ignore it. If there's clutter all around our rooms, we would neglect it or ignore it. If there is a certain need we have in our relationship, we would ignore and neglect the needs in that relationship. And on a macrocosmic scale, we would ignore and neglect the needs of animals, of different species, of forests, of trees, of water bodies, of nature, of the Mother Earth. And then we have the attitude of narcissism, you know, which is selfish interests. And when everything is about me, my needs, my opinions, my way or highway, if that's the value system or that's the attitude that we have, then that would reflect in everything as well. Then we are exploitative. In our relationships, it's exploitative. I want it for me. And at my work, it's exploitative. I want it for me. You know, from the trees, I'll see what I want. I want this for me. And from Mother Earth as well, then we are wanting to exploit the resources of the earth. So I think when we look at ideologies, values, and belief systems, we have a value system of sensitivity, we have a value system of callousness, we have a value system of selfishness. And each one of them will be associated with a certain lifestyle, a certain way of behavior, you know. So I think we move away a little bit because we move away from the ideology and value system of sensitivity to a value system of selfishness, you know, to a value system of greed. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, isn't it, that there is enough in the world for everyone's needs, but not enough
Right.
for one man's greed, correct? So when we move from thinking of earth than and to thinking about ourselves, when we move from thinking of our spouse, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our sibling, our parent to ourselves, when we move from thinking about our colleagues, so it's not earth or a relationship, attitudes are attitudes. And when we develop a certain attitude from the smallest thing in life to the largest thing, that attitude is reflected. But today we just live in a world where it's all about me most time. I'm not generalizing, obviously. There are people who have the right value system, but by and large, we see it's so much about ourselves. Then we also, when it comes to the earth, we're just exploiting. Didn't someone say that, you know, we live in a world where people buy the things that they don't need with the money that they don't have to impress the people whom they anyways don't like. Ironical, isn't it? So what do you think about it? This is how I think. We are just such a shift of value systems.
I agree with you, but I also think that maybe it's because of the Industrial Revolution in the last 100 years
Yes.
that has been exploitative and
Correct.
consumerist, and build
Correct.
a society that is taught to be consumerist without
Correct.
any sense of empathy.
Yes.
So, because you quoted Mahatma Gandhi, I'll go back to the Satyagraha movement. And
Yes.
the reason why Gandhiji said that, he was inspired by nature
Correct.
to want democracy or fight for democracy. It started with
Yes.
the Indigo movement, right? The way we were, the British
Correct.
colonized us and were growing indigo. And
Yeah.
the freedom movement started from that, right?
Yes.
That exploitative nature. And what
Correct.
the Industrial Revolution has done is done exactly that. We've
Yeah.
colonized our planet.
Yes, indeed.
Uh, and we've done it with a great lack of compassion and empathy and sensitivity.
Correct.
And
Correct.
unfortunately, this desire for more and the
Yes.
virtue of less, you
Correct.
know, and because of the consumerist approach and the kind of idea of, or I wouldn't say false or right because I'm no judge of it, but the sense
Sure.
that I get is that this idea of um, what really makes life meaningful and good being
Yes.
hinged on the material and
Correct.
how much you can consume
Correct.
is what has driven the imbalance in society.
Yes.
I feel at a value system and as a planet. We've
Yes.
done this to our planet and to ourselves
Yeah,
because all
indeed.
life is connected.
Of
Nobody
course.
is separate from each other
Agreed. Very much.
because of our consumerist approach. Don't you agree?
Yes. Yes, I think so. I totally agree. You know what it is? The crime is equally shared.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
crime of having exploited nature is equally shared by the Industrial Revolution, who promotes consumerism, and the individuals who buy into the idea of consumerism.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I very strongly feel that it's a demand and supply chain. As soon as we say that, okay, I am happy to live with a little lesser, or I'm happy to live a simple life, the industries do not have a say, because in one sense we kind of dictate that.
That's
So
a very powerful thought because a
yes.
lot of people, and I talk to friends about this all the time, a lot
Correct.
of people say that if 1% of this planet is
Correct.
controlling the economy and
Correct.
they are determining what we want or we don't want,
Yes.
and they control the money, then how can individual action or an individual no make a
Yes.
difference to the larger problem? And I think
Correct.
what you just said is so important for us to remember, especially now more than ever before,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we need to all become more resolute in our resolve to protect our planet and the balance that
Yes.
it has. Otherwise, we
Very
will
much.
have more such pandemics that the
Correct.
scientists have been
Correct.
warning about for
Sure.
many, many
Sure.
years.
Sure. Very much. I completely agree. True. True. So yeah, the change begins with us. The change begins with us saying, okay, I'm happy to live with a little lesser. I'm happy to live a little simpler kind of a life. Fine. But then I need to break this chain. Consumerism is not bad when it doesn't come at the cost of others. The consumption, when it comes at the cost of something or someone, is bad. And we have this movements, we have the movements like minimalism, which is to try to live with less, where less is more. And then you have movements like some hedonism, which is you consume more and think that you're known more for what you wear than for who you are, or for where you live than who you are, or which car you drive than who you are. It's all about what you have and not who you are. So I was thinking about this a little bit, and I was thinking that it has so much to do with more than minimalism or maximalism, if you allow me to use that word. It's so much to do with individual needs,
And
and
that's
everybody's,
so relative.
that's
But
so relative.
there
Everybody's need
are
is correct.
But there is a difference between need and greed.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
I say this often because I think Gordon Gekko made this line very famous, and the corporate world has quoted it for many
Yes.
years. Greed is good. And I
Yes.
always say, let's be greedy for good,
Correct.
because the world needs more people to feel greedy to make a difference,
Sure. Sure.
to understand the connection between
Correct.
life
Correct.
and
Correct.
all the species that we co-inhabit this planet with.
Yes. Yes.
I want to ask you something very specific, because it's something that I have dealt with and
Mm-hmm.
I continue to deal with. It's the problem of contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as an urban dweller, as somebody who lives in an urban society,
Correct.
and um, I find it, and I can't live a hermit's life. I can't move away
Yes.
from this, this
Yes.
space we occupy, this
Sure.
the kind of life we have.
Sure.
And I've always felt that, and the more environmental consciousness one gains, the
Mm-hmm.
more you see that contradiction. And
Correct.
it makes you feel very helpless. It definitely makes me
Yes.
feel very helpless. And
Indeed.
the only time when I feel a little peaceful and better about myself and the role that I play at an individual level as a human being is
Yeah.
when I can make changes in my personal life,
Uh-huh.
maybe through that experience or that learning. When I share it with some others,
Mm-hmm.
it gives me the sense that, okay, chalo, at least I'm doing a little bit.
Correct. Correct.
What do you have to say to people who feel this overwhelm?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when we recognize the role that we play in balancing ecology
Mm-hmm.
and the unfortunate reality of living urban lives and not being
Correct.
very connected to earth, and being
Yes.
unable to lead a very simplistic life, what
Yes.
do you say to us?
Yes. Yes. So I think just going back to that point of the need and greed thing again, and then I'll take it further because it's related to what I want to say as an answer. When we're talking about minimalism or maximalism, again, if you allow me to use that word, there's nothing like that, but hedonism, you know, we're looking at living by our needs. And like you rightly said, that everybody's needs are relative, you know, like we go to the Mahabharata, an epic, whether you call it a reality, history, mythology, it doesn't matter. But if you
Yeah.
look at the story, you have someone like Bhim who's massive and he has a voracious appetite. And you have someone like Arjun who can eat frugal, who can fast. So Mother Kunti, their mother knows how much to give to them, each one of them. Each one of us has a different need physically. If you go to the gym, somebody can push the metal a little harder. Someone can push it a little lesser. Somebody needs 5 liters of water a day. Somebody would need just 3.5 liters of water a day. There's no fixed need, right? Everybody's need is relative and different. And just like a mother would know that and provide the kids based on their needs, Mother Earth also provides each one in a way that the resources are there, and therefore it's our responsibility to take as much as we need.
Right.
When we take more than what we need, that crosses the line and becomes greed. you know and like you rightly point, like two kids, the mother knows this guy needs more and this guy needs a little less, because that's their physical capacities. The mother gives proportionately, the right kind of shares, and then the guy who's a little herculean and voracious in his appetite would probably snatch away something from the other or take away from the mother's share. That's very insensitive, you know. So I think that need is a very relative thing, like you rightly said. Plus, also when you mentioned, that it's important, greed is good. When it comes to doing good to others, greed is good. But there's a thin line between ambition and greed to have more.
True.
You know, ambition is within the boundary of ethics. Greed crosses ethics, the boundary of ethics. Ambition is sensitive to the needs of others. Greed is not sensitive to the needs of others. So I think to understand the thin line between what ambition is and greed is. So if you ask me, I would say the corporate line should be ambition is good, because greed becomes insensitive. It's very narcissistic, you know. And coming back to that question on us as urbans, I myself am an urban monk, very urban guy, completely there. I am, you know what they call me, the
You're
cool
not a
guru.
hermit that's living in the hills.
I'm not a
You are
hermit.
an urban monk that has to travel to deliver talks, meet
Yes,
people. How do you find
yes,
the balance? Tell me, how do you find the balance?
yes, yes. So like you said, we as urbans have that sense of guilt.
Yeah.
You brought this up, like you see at the back, there's an aircon on, air
Yeah.
conditioners on there at the back. Now I don't keep that on all the time, but now we are doing a live session, right? And just outside my room is a garden with some noise, crows cawing constantly, correct? Now I have to close the window so that we save that noise, save ourselves from that noise. And it's a tiny little room. Naturally, I'll start perspiring, sweating. So for the time that we are for this live session, I'm going to have to turn the aircon on. So we all lead lives which are urban, you know. And there is that sense of guilt that, okay, I'm being a environment activist, or I'm promoting awareness about environment, ecology, Mother Earth. And then here I am that, I'm not really living up to the ideal standards of what is expected of me if I'm an activist.
I think we have to all find our ideal, but as
Correct.
long as we're acting from a place of empathy and
Correct.
sensitivity and the
Correct.
basic understanding that we share our planet with
Correct.
many other
Correct.
species and our
Sure.
one humanity, and it's one planet. And
Yes.
that itself. So there's one interesting line that I use with children when we deliver
Mm-hmm.
talks to them,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to wastage and
Correct.
consumerism. Everything that you use and throw, think of where it's coming from and where it's going to go.
Yes. Correct. Correct.
And that really acts as a very powerful reminder. So,
Sure.
at an everyday level, you start finding solutions for
Correct.
things that you're using or bringing into your life, or
That's
things
right.
you can easily say no to.
Yes.
I think this lockdown has shown many of us that it's it's not difficult to live simply.
Correct. Correct. Indeed.
And and I think the the inequalities have always existed, but I
Yes.
don't think they've ever been starker than they have
Mm-hmm.
been during this pandemic.
Yes.
But at the
Yes.
same time, this pandemic has been leveler, because
Correct.
whether you are the prime minister of a country or a royal
Yes.
or a daily wage
Yes.
worker, laborer, it doesn't matter. This
Yes.
invisible virus has has the ability to get to
Equal
you.
rights to all.
Yes, and that's why I always say that nature is a democratic system and has
Yes.
always given us the understanding that there is, like you said, enough for everyone. But because of our
Yes.
exploitative nature and the disruptions that we've caused,
Yes.
there isn't enough for those who should be getting more.
Yeah.
Uh, is
Yeah.
there is there a, is there a hope or an aspiration that you wish for the world on this earth?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's 50 years of this extraordinary movement that has brought people, citizens from across the planet together to, you know,
Yes.
help improve environmental consciousness. Is there
Mm.
one thing that you hope for people to collectively care for and believe in a little more through this experience of the pandemic?
Yes. Yes. I think very beautifully put by you, Dia, that the pandemic's kind of given equal rights to everybody's equal, from the prime minister to the royals to the rank and file. Everybody's today going through the same kind of a situation in isolation and lockdown. And I suppose that people have become more reflective. Indeed, they've become more reflective. And you pointed out a very important thing, that we have kind of, shall I say, uncovered that virtue within us, which is to say, okay, I can live with simple facilities around me. I can live simply. Yeah. And then when we were talking about that guilt as urbans, you know, I don't think we need to feel guilty. I just think that we all have our lifestyle. There's an ideal and there's a practical, you know. We all know what our aspiration needs to be. That's the ideal. But we all know that we have practical needs when we live in cities, when we have certain roles to play in the world, and we will do as much as is humanly possible for us to come closer to our aspiration, and inch by inch move towards there. you know Now, I would look at it this way personally for myself, that I would do away with that guilt by saying, okay, I'll take whatever is necessary, minimize the unwanted necessities, the unnecessary necessities. We have a lot of unnecessary necessities which you say, okay, this is what I can work on. But then there are the necessary necessities which still are coming from resources of earth. I'll take them, but I'll also start sharing.
And also find a way to give back. So
That's right. Give back.
Some things that I've managed to do, and that gives me a lot of peace, is supporting wildlife conservationists,
Correct.
supporting the forest department,
Correct.
supporting all those people in whatever manner we can, whether it
Yes,
is
yes.
advocacy or
Indeed.
education, whatever it may be.
Correct.
Just basically supporting the protectors of the planet
Yes.
and
Yes.
finding ways in our daily life to live a more sustainable, like
Correct.
segregating waste at home, completely discontinuing the use of single-use plastics,
Sure. Sure.
finding saving water, not wasting water. So
Yes. Yes.
I think,
Small things, but lead to a major difference. True.
yeah, small actions, I think.
Yes. 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 Indeed. Beautiful point again. Giving back. Giving back can be giving back to fellow human beings who are children of Mother Earth, children of Mother Nature, our brothers and sisters. So sharing our resources with them, like mothers given to all of us, so we don't take from one only for ourselves, we share. And then giving back in terms of adding value back to Mother Nature by, either it's plantation of trees, or trying to see that the existing trees are not cut down, trying to see, like you rightly said, the water is not wasted, trying to see, okay, I moderately use air conditioner, I moderately use cars, or I moderately use this or that. So all of it adding value by being very sensitive. Like earlier, I was mentioning about ideologies, and you mentioned a Sanskrit verse.
Yes.
I grew up chanting a Sanskrit verse every day when I got up in the morning. I was taught this since I was a child.
Let me see if I know it.
Yeah, you might know it actually. When we woke up first in the morning, we would look at our palms and say a prayer. And then before we put our foot on Mother Earth from our bed, we would recite a prayer which would say, Samudra Vasane Devi, Parvatascha Parvatasthana Mahastale, and it would then next say, Vishnu Patni Namostubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamaswame. It would say that, oh, wife of Lord Vishnu, my mother, Vishnu Patni Namostubhyam. Earth is considered, who is considered the wife of Vishnu in the traditional Vedic lore. So, oh mother of Lord, oh wife of Lord Vishnu, my mother, who's decorated with the attire of the oceans, bluish attire. So Samudra Vasane Devi, and Parvatastana Mandale, whose limbs are the mountains. And Padasparsham, I'm going to now put my foot on you, mom. So you don't put your foot on the mother. So now that I'm going to put my foot on you, Kshamaswame, please pardon me that I'm putting my foot on you. So this is a sensitivity with which I grew up. That, okay, when I'm touching Mother Earth, I'm going to first beg for forgiveness and pardon, and then go on to the. Now, whether it's reality, whether it's mythology, whether religion or no religion, I really don't care a damn, to be honest. What I really care for is the outcome of this sensitive outlook. If we have this sensitivity that we are dealing with someone who's precious, then we will definitely, be very caring and concerned about everything that is that the needs of the earth are, the needs of the nature, and the environment and ecology are. So that's what are your thoughts? This is a verse I thought I would share with you since you began with the words.
I completely agree with you, and it's exactly the inheritance. You think about any indigenous people, you think about
Yes.
any tribe or civilization in this world. Each one of them has had inherited the values
Correct.
that Mother Nature has given us. The
Yes.
understanding that all life is connected, the
Correct.
understanding that we must respect,
Yes.
love, and
Yes. Correct.
And
Indeed.
that is what brings balance to our lives and
Yes.
our planet.
Correct.
Um, we're almost, we've spent 25 minutes together. I
Indeed.
would love to continue speaking with you, but
Sure.
I want to end this
Mhm.
conversation for today. I hope our conversations continue because they're important to have.
Yeah, yeah.
With an ask, is there any message that you would like to give people who are at home right now, who are
Hmm.
recognizing the beauty, the serenity, the calm, and the peace, and the
Hmm.
health
Hmm.
that the environment, nature provides?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
For the time when we come out of our homes and go
Yes.
back to treading on the earth
Correct.
that we should value much more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I put up a quote this morning on an Insta story. It was a quote by Chief Seattle, who said, "The Earth doesn't belong to us. We belong to the Earth." You know, and Mother Earth has given us so many resources and has been very kind to us by providing us with so much. Nature has provided us with so much, and
And for free,
suddenly,
we've applied
and for free,
that to everything.
absolutely for
Clean
free,
water, clean air, clean
everything,
fertile soils.
absolutely. Absolutely. And with all of that, suddenly this pause button has been pressed through the corona pandemic. And now, for the first time, we have realized what Mother Nature has come back to, her original pristine beauty. And it's we who had been responsible for making her who she was. You know, the pollution in the water bodies, in the air, all over the place was because of us. Right? And Mother Nature, E.O. Wilson said this. He said that if the human race was wiped off from planet Earth, everything would go on beautifully. There would be no need for anything else. Everything would go on beautifully. I do not think that, we should be a curse. We have been blessed and we should be a blessing as well, you know. And in that sense, when we get back, I know we are, like we earlier discussed, we are far from an ideal life, especially in urban settings, correct? At least let us become more sensitive. Let us respect the needs of Mother Earth. And you so beautifully put it, Dia. And I so much echo that thought that you said we need to have empathy, we need to have love, we need to have respect, and we need to have compassion. These are the four qualities that are so essential when we come out of the pandemic. And I always feel that, when you get a good experience out of anything, you want to repeat it. And when you get a bad experience of something, you don't want to repeat it. Now we have gotten a good experience of what Mother Nature is like. So let us repeat that experience by becoming more sensitive. And like you said, the four words, I love those words: empathetic, respectful, compassionate, and loving. So that's something that I would like to share. Yes.
What's the first thing you want to do when you can step out after
The
this
first
pandemic?
thing, the first thing
You
I want to
posted
do,
this question on Sunday. I was very tempted to ask you.
really?
Yes, I wanted to know from you.
Yes. The first thing I want to do when I step out of the pandemic, out of the lockdown, is to walk out of the gates of the ashram that we live in. And if I can be the first one to walk to the ocean, I live right close to the ocean, you know. I want to go to the ocean and look at that ocean at Chopati in her pristine beauty. I'm not yet allowed to go out, but I've seen some videos that some people posted. They took some drone shots, and I
Yes.
said, "Man,
It's
this is where I live. This is Mumbai. I can't believe it."
yeah.
So I definitely want to go out there and just look at the attire of Mother Earth, Samudra Vasene Devi, her bluish attire that decorates our mother, and see her in that beautiful dress. Like we sometimes love to see our mothers dressed up beautifully and decked up beautifully for a party. I want to see my mother, Mother Earth, decked up with that bluish attire, and really appreciate Mother Earth and say thank you for, coming back to your glory. And I think that's my first desire when I come out of the lockdown.
Lovely.
What's yours? What's yours, Dia? What do you want to do when you come out?
I want to be able to hug my loved ones who I have
Wow.
never seen.
Amazing.
Because I've realized that while technology connects us and is giving us
Yes.
access to each other, there
Sure.
is nothing in this world like personal connection. Just like
Yes.
you can see the video or a visual of
Sure.
and feel the peace and calm that it gives you, but
Correct.
it's nothing
Correct.
like actually physically standing on the beach and
Yes.
watching the sunlight ripple on the water and the
Yes.
water spread
Indeed.
across us
Indeed.
infinitely.
Indeed.
So that's the first thing that I want to do.
Wow.
And I'm grateful that I have, we live in a building where there's a beautiful garden and there's
Yes.
trees and birds, and I can go up to the terrace and watch the sunset. But yes, one of the one first things that I would love to do is to be able to go back to a forest.
Yes.
I miss the forest.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
thank you.
Thank
Happy
you very
Earth
much.
Day.
Thank you. And thank you for being the diya, the light, bringing the light to bringing this awareness to the world of, being sensitive to Mother Earth. You're really living by that name, diya. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for having me over.
Thank you for joining all of us
Thank you.
and for
Thank you.
spreading joy and love and positivity. I will end this live at 4:32, thanking you, Gaur Gopal Das ji, for being a part of this conversation and saying to all of you who joined us from all over the world that this Earth Day is a very important Earth Day. While we recognize the values that Mother Nature gives us and the abundance she does, we need to become more resolute in our resolve to protecting and respecting her a lot more than we have. And we can do it. Collectively,
Sure.
we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.